Recently I was browsing Steam looking for some free or discounted games, and I came across Pale Abyss. It's actually a demo and not the full game as I initially thought during my first playthrough, but even so, it has a pretty solid foundation for a finished game. It's a Souls-like, but it takes a lot of inspiration from Software's original Kingsfield series. After the intro, you can immediately choose a class from a fairly wide selection. There's even the unfortunate soul, which starts with unmodified stats. I chose the duty-bound crusader and I was thrown straight into the game, literally. I found a sword and a little further in, my first spell, which worked in a pretty interesting way. There's a meter for occult and abyssal along with a sanity meter. If your sanity exceeds its limit, either your occult or abyssal stat will increase depending on which type of magic you've been using. If you push that limit even further, you will get a debuff that reduces your maximum health until you lower one of the two sides of the meter. You can do this either by intentionally pushing yourself into madness using the opposite type of spell, or by finding a special crystal item that adds points to occult or abyssal. And now, finally the combat. At first glance it doesn't seem all that original, but since they aim to replicate the feel of retro games, the combat was designed accordingly. You can block, perform a parry, which I could never quite time right, or tactically maneuver around enemies. However, one really neat mechanic involves occult and abyssal weapons or magic. Each enemy has a distinct color based on these elements. For example, these lobsters are tinted turquoise, meaning they are weaker to occult attacks while being resistant to abyssal ones. That brings me to another aspect of the game I found interesting: the controls. They are responsive and the game even partially supports controllers, though unfortunately the menus don't, and the input prompts only display keyboard shortcuts. I really like the HUD, it's minimalistic and doesn't interfere with the gameplay. However, I was a bit disappointed by the UI. While it's functional and easy to navigate, the inventory felt overly simplified. Sure, it makes finding items quicker, but it lacks any distinctive stylization. That's just my personal opinion, and it's not a huge issue for me, but I would have liked to see more equipment slots. For example, the demo doesn't include armor, and I'm not sure if it's planned for the final game. A big part of the game also involves solving simpler puzzles and platforming, which feels fantastic thanks to the unique level design filled with intriguing ruins of the past. Even in the demo, we can already see hints of deeper lore, which you can uncover by reading the descriptions of the items you collect along the way. And here's something I really have to praise the developers for: you also get lore tied to individual altars that act as bonfires. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a Souls-like game to do this before. Usually you have to piece together the lore from item descriptions and deduce what actually happened in a given location. The game does an amazing job of capturing its atmosphere through the use of retro graphics, reminiscent of old PlayStation games, and a masterfully crafted soundtrack, which you've been hearing throughout this video. Honestly, I don't have much to criticize, except that the combat system feels a bit too simple for now, but then again, I didn't really get the chance to fully test it due to the lack of enemy variety. For example, I would be really curious to see what kind of unique mechanics the bosses might have. But overall, it's pretty solid demo and I recommend you to try it out. It's on Steam and it's free. It's a demo, that's why it's free, right? So I will leave a link in the description and you can go and check it out for yourself. Maybe you can find even some secrets that I haven't, because There's supposed to be a Moonlight Greatsword somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. Alright, that's it guys for today's video. Thank you for watching and see you!